Hello and welcome to Playful Communication. My name's Laurel and I'm a speech and language therapist with the Enfield Early Years Speech and Language Therapy Service. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today. We hope to share some important information that will help you to support your child's communication development. These videos are designed to give you the background information you need to help you get the best out of your upcoming speech and language therapy appointments. This video is all about supporting back and forth interaction. The second video is more in depth about using visuals to support communication. After watching these videos, you will be invited to 3 fortnightly face-to-face sessions with the speech and language therapist. In these sessions, the SLT will help you to set goals and identify strategies you can use throughout the day and within your play with your child. They'll use the sessions to coach you in using the strategies so that you can feel confident to support your child's communication during the moments in their day that matter most to them. For your final SLT session, a key person from your child's nursery setting may be invited to join the session remotely. The key worker may also be invited to an online group workshop about supporting your child's social communication. A report and goal sheet will be provided to help you continue working towards your child's goals. At this point, the current episode of care will be complete and you will be discharged. You can always attend one of our SLT drop-in sessions to get updated advice. More information will be sent to you about these after your sessions. Your child may be re-referred to our service to reassess their needs and update their goals after 6 months of implementation of the strategies at home, or if they achieve their goals and you continue to have concerns about their communication. This can be discussed at the drop-ins if you're not sure. If your child has an EHCP, they will receive input as is specified in their plan. Please speak to your speech and language therapist if you're unsure. So what are we hoping to achieve in these playful communication sessions? We want to help develop your child's social communication skills by focusing on these 3 aims. 1. For your child to be more successful in sending and receiving messages. 2. You and your child to share joyful, meaningful back and forth interactions. And 3. That your child will learn that communication is fun. Your speech and language therapist will also help you set more specific communication goals. Today's presentation will help to guide you in setting goals that are most helpful and relevant to your child and will show you lots of ways to achieve these. So what is social communication? It's so much more than just talking. We're about to watch a video that will be a quick reminder of all the different ways that we communicate. Watch this baby interacting with her mother and notice what is the baby communicating about and how is she communicating that?
Yeah. Do you want to go to sleep? No, okay. Why don't you ever want to go to sleep? You got energy? I've got your bottle, I've got your teddy, and then you started kicking off. I changed your bum. I know, but I thought that's what you wanted to do. I know, but we've had a nice day together, and then you're kicking off now. But why? Yeah. Yeah, but you need to go to sleep because you're only a baby. No, but you're a baby, so you're meant to listen to what I'm saying. No, but you're meant to be going to sleep because you're the baby.
So you can see in that clip that although the baby wasn't using any words, they were clearly communicating so richly with their mum by using things like gesture, like shaking her head or using her little hands. She changed her tone of voice and the intonation of her speech to show how she was feeling. The mum and the baby are quite close together. They're leaning in to show that they're interested. They're meeting each other's gaze and the baby's sometimes looking back to show the mum that she's talking about something behind her. They're also using facial expressions like smiles or little frowns. The baby's clearly copying the mum and the mum even copies the baby back, and they're taking turns so that there's a balanced interaction and the messages are being sent back and forth. They're using all these different behaviours to send those messages. So when we look at this, we can see what social communication really means. It's not just about talking, but it's all the ways that we interact and send messages. To communicate, we need to use lots of different skills. Attention and listening, play, and social communication are like the roots of the communication tree. They provide the foundation for other skills like speaking, when words are used in a meaningful way. Providing lots of opportunities for social communication will help your child's communication development. We know from research that the more back and forth turns a child has in an interaction, the more their language develops. Focus on play in speech and language therapy because we know that children learn through play and having fun. We also know that communication develops within meaningful, real-life interactions. There are lots of different ways to play, whether that means feeding a dolly or enjoying the sounds that toys make as they fall to the ground. All of this is play and an opportunity for you to join in with your child and have fun and communicate. Take a minute now to think about the children and the people in your child's life. Who does your child like to play with, and who would you like your child to be able to communicate with? These will be the best people to help your child's communication to develop. Research shows us that communication develops during the activities your child does and enjoys every day. As well as play, this includes breakfast time, getting ready to go out, or during a trip to the park. These activities have real meaning for your child. They're familiar and predictable, and so they're great opportunities to learn to communicate. So where do we start? We can't make a child communicate, but we can provide them with an environment that makes it as motivating and as easy as possible, so that we make it more likely they will communicate. To communicate, we need 3 things to be in place. First, we need someone to communicate with. Second, we need a motivating reason to communicate. And third, we need a way to send and receive the message. And remember, this includes so much more than just speech. You can think of your child's communication like a seed, and these 3 things are the water, the soil, and the sunshine that it needs to grow. Today we're going to talk about each of these key things and what you can do to promote these at home. First, let's focus on giving your child someone to communicate with. How can we gain your child's attention and be the best communication partners we can be? Next, we'll talk about how to create motivating reasons for your child to communicate. We'll think about what those reasons could be and how we can create more of those throughout the day. And finally, we'll talk about teaching more ways for your child to send their messages. Communication is a 2-way process that goes back and forth. There needs to be a sender and a receiver. As the person communicating with your child, you have a very important job. You can help to make sure the messages they send get received. You can also make sure you're sending messages in a way that will help your child to understand them. Little changes can go a long way in helping communication go back and forth. The first little thing you can do when interacting with your child is to observe, wait, and listen, otherwise known as owling. So while you're playing, take some time at first to just watch what your child's doing when they're left to their own devices. Just sit back and notice, what does your child like to do when they're left to do what they like? What toys or objects are they interested in? What do they like to do with those toys? Are there any sensations they seem to seek out, like sounds or textures? Maybe they're looking closely and inspecting parts of toys and how they move, or maybe they're doing some pretending with those toys. Are there particular ways that they like to move or things they like to say? Noticing these things will tell us loads about what's motivating to them. It will also show us the best way to join in with them in a way that they're going to be excited and happy about. While you're owling, you might also notice, how do they send messages to you? Are they using their body, their face, any gestures or sounds, any words or phrases? What is it they're communicating about? Are they asking for things that they want? Are they telling you they want more space or that they don't want you to interfere? Those are important messages that we always send too. Or are they trying to show you something they like? All of that is communication, and it's all something we can build on. This is a very small change that you can make and something that can have a huge impact. Your child might be really fantastic at focusing on their play with toys. We want to help your child to learn that interactions with you can also be really fun. Best way to do this is to come into their world and meet them where their attention is. These are some of the ways that you can help to gain your child's attention. The first is to make sure that you're face to face and on their level. This will make it much easier for them to tune into you. So if they're playing on the mat, you might need to get down or lie down so that you're face to face with them. Follow their lead and join in with them. So instead of directing your child in what to do or asking them questions about what they're doing, simply watch what they do and join in. Let them be in control and play their way. Use your child's interests in play, so make sure you've got toys or activities that are to do with their favourite things. Copy what they do. If your child is driving cars backwards and forwards, you could get down and take a different car and join in with them. Or if your child is stacking objects, maybe you could get some different toys, sit by them and start stacking. Whatever it is your child's doing, copying them will help to gain their attention and will help them to see that they can initiate and that when they do an action, someone might join in. This teaches them that they can communicate. Singing songs is a really lovely way to gain your child's attention. So if there's any nursery rhymes, or particularly nursery rhymes that have actions in them, this is a great way to gain their attention. They're also brilliant because they're so repetitive and children will know just how to join in and when. Make sure that you're really expressive. Use big facial expressions, use fun noises and sounds, and animated voice. This will help to gain your child's attention. Talk more soon about the different ways your child might send messages and how we can expand on these. To start with, it's so important to notice all the brilliant things your child is already doing. Children who are not using words still have ways of telling you what they want or need. Have a look at these children in the pictures. What message are they sending? How would your child communicate these messages? You could pause the video here to have a think about these things. When we respond to our children's messages, we show them that they have been understood. We show them that sending messages is a good idea, and we make it more likely that they will keep trying to send us messages. So have a look at these pictures again. How might you respond to these children to show them that you've understood them? So for the first picture, you might, for instance, open the door for them and say, "Open the door," to show you've understood and to model what they would say if they could. In the second picture, maybe you'd follow the child to what they want and you could model a word for them like "come," or you could point to what they want. In the third picture, you could say a word like water or open and open the bottle for them. In the fourth picture, you could say a word like sad or interpret the problem like the toys are gone. Another important way to be a good communication partner for our child is to make sure that when we interact with them, we don't do too much of the talking or take over too much. We want to make sure that in all of our play and in our interactions, we take the time to pause and wait to give our child a chance to join in and respond to us. When we pause and wait, that's our child's opportunity and their invitation to communicate. That's their time to take their turn and make sure that the interaction continues to flow back and forth. When we do this, it means that our child has the chance to initiate with us and communicate about the things that they find interesting. That gives us more chance to respond to them about things that they want to communicate more about. Talked a lot about being a good receiver of messages. We can also change the way we send messages to help our child receive and understand them. You can remember this simple phrase: say less, stress, go slow, and show. We say less because too much talking can be overwhelming. When it comes to helping your child understand, less is more. Try using just single words and see how your child responds and changes their communication. Stress key words. Emphasize and repeat the important words. For example, it's a ball. The ball is rolling. Here comes the ball. Speak slowly. Children need lots more time to process language than we do. And show. Having something to see as well as hear can help your child's understanding. There'll be lots more information on this in the next video. You can show by using gestures, showing objects, showing pictures or photos of what you're talking about. Now we've talked about ways you can be a great communication partner for your child. Let's think more about the reasons that your child communicates and how we can give even more motivating reasons throughout the day and in your play. We communicate for lots of different reasons all the time. And remember, we don't only use talking to do this. Think about your child. What are the reasons they communicate with you? You can pause the video here to have a think or make some notes. This will help you to set goals for your child with your speech and language therapist. Sometimes we need to pay close attention to our child's behaviour to notice what messages are being sent our way. For example, your child might move themselves away when they're not interested, or climb up on a chair to reach a toy when they want it. This sends a clear message to us about how they feel, even if they didn't intend to send the message. Being a good communication partner means responding to these unintentional communications and showing your child the power they have to send messages. Requesting is often one of the first reasons children learn to communicate. You can encourage your child to communicate that they want something by offering choices. A starting point is to offer two objects. Hold them up near face level and name them. Like the lady in the picture might say, car or dolly? Then observe, wait and listen. How does your child show you which one they want? Maybe they look at the one they want or reach to take it. However they communicate, the next thing to do is respond. Always respond to however your child communicates their choice. This will show them that communication is worthwhile. As you respond to them, model the name of the item and point to it. If this is easy for your child, you might pause for a little longer next time to give your child a bit more opportunity to use more communication, and maybe even a word or the point that you've been modelling. But never allow your child to get frustrated or distressed. We want communication to feel natural and fun. If this is too hard, you can make it a little easier by offering one thing your child really likes and one thing they're not interested in. This makes it easier for them to choose and for you to notice how they communicate their choice. Can you think of times you can offer choices to your child throughout the day? Maybe during play, during food or snack time, maybe offering them different clothes to wear when getting dressed, or toys for the bath. You can create an invitation to communicate with you with a motivating toy. For example, trains or puzzle pieces. You can hold on to these toys in a bag or a box in your hand. You can give your child one or two of the toys to get the interaction started, and then hold and wait for your child to communicate that they want more. This might be by reaching for or grabbing the toy, and that's fine and is a good starting point. It's so important to respond to all communication attempts. You can give them the toy and model a word like more or train. If this activity isn't fun for your child and they're getting frustrated, then it might not be the right time or the right activity to try right now. The last thing we want is for your child to learn that interactions are frustrating or even traumatic. It is important to respond to your child, and if they're showing you that they're not enjoying it, it is time to move on to another way to play. You can always give your child space and come back later if that's what they're asking for. Remember that being able to communicate, I don't want to, or I don't like it, is going to be extremely important for your child for their whole life. We really do want to respond to and encourage communications like these. So you can even use times when your child rejects the activity as an opportunity to model the words your child would use if they could, like no, stop, don't, later. You can model a sign or a gesture they could use too, like holding up the palm of your hand when you say stop. These words and communications will be invaluable for your child's well-being, and can even help to avoid more challenging behaviours your child might use to communicate these important things. A container with a tight lid can be a good way to motivate your child to make a request. It can also be an easy way for your child to start to learn to make a request that they initiate themselves. For example, they might walk across the room to bring the box to you. Perhaps they already make requests like this for something familiar, like with their bottle or with the remote control. This method can help expand the range of requests that they make in this way. You can pause and wait to give an opportunity to see what communication they use. Respond to your child however they communicate. This will help your child to feel that they've been successful and make them more likely to keep communicating. This will help you keep the interaction going for longer and keep messages moving back and forth between you. Talk lots now about requesting and a bit about rejecting too. But today our main goal is social communication, and a key part of this is just to have fun together. Having fun together is so important as it helps to build that connection that allows communication to flourish. We can create the most fun for your child by using their interests. Your child might have certain sensations that they seek out and enjoy, like spinning, jumping, rocking, moving, messy play. Notice what your child does when they're left to their own devices. Remember to observe, wait and listen. And this will help you to know how to use their interests in play. And it will help you to set up opportunities that your child will love doing with you. Let your child choose the toy and how to play with it. As adults, we often want to direct our child's attention and play, for example, saying, "Look at this, do this, try this." But this doesn't always lead to a joyful back and forth interaction. Instead, we want to follow their lead. Notice what they're doing and show them you're interested by playing their way, even if it isn't what you would expect. Copying, maybe with a different toy if your child doesn't like you to touch their things. Or joining in even from a slight distance if your child feels a bit overwhelmed by having you in their space. We can also join in by commenting on what they're doing. Copying is a really great way to get your child's attention and start a back and forth interaction. Copying your child puts them in control and it's fun. It helps them notice you. It helps them learn to copy you back. It's a great way to get communication going back and forth and turn-taking, which is actually the beginning of conversation skills. After you copy your child, pause and wait, as that's their invitation to respond to you. They might respond by looking at you, maybe start to copy you back, and that's the start of your back and forth interaction. Copy their movements, the way they use objects, sounds they make, or words that they say. If your child often copies you back when you copy them, you can expand on this by adding something new to the routine. You could add a new word or a new movement, or even a new idea with the toy. For example, if you and your child are taking turns lining up the cars, you might try making the next car zoom around the room before lining it up. If your child doesn't copy you, that's okay. You can go back to copying them to keep their attention going and try again another time. I'm now going to share with you a really great way to give your child an opportunity to communicate. We want them to communicate the message, "This is fun," and "I want to keep playing with you." You can do this with people games. A people game is a game that involves just you and your child. You don't need any toys. All you need is a fun and playful routine that you can repeat over and over in the same way. These games should involve your child's sensory interests, and maybe things like movement, touch, or music and song. This could be things like swinging your child in the air, if they like that, tickling, peekaboo, hide and seek, play fighting with pillows, or bouncing on your lap to a song, or even spinning around and holding hands. The thing that makes it a people game is that you do these fun activities a certain way. Use the same few simple words or phrases in the routine every time. Something like "ready, steady, go" usually works well. Or something like "it's tickle time, here I come." As long as you do it the same way every time, that will help your child get excited and anticipate what's going to happen next. Make sure you pause and wait just before the fun part. Pausing is important as that's your child's chance to join in. When you pause, your child might communicate the message, "I want more," in their own way. Lastly, it helps to give a name to each people game that your child enjoys. This will make it easier for them to request the game. For example, "Let's play swing." Ready, steady, whee! Think about what your child likes to do when they're left to their own devices. That can be a great starting point for a people game. For example, if your child loves spinning around in circles, they might enjoy a game of ring a roses. If they love jumping up and down, they might like it if you hold their hands and say, "Ready, steady, jump, 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 jump." Or maybe they like tight hugs, in which case they might enjoy a game where you roll them up in a blanket and sing a sausage roll song. Whatever your child enjoys, see if you can turn that into a game. As long as you make it repetitive and use the same kind of language each time, this will help them to anticipate the fun part and join in. Make sure that you wait for your child to ask for more. Maybe this would be by smiling, giggling, pulling you, or looking at you. Another great way to get your child communicating, "This is fun," or "I want to keep playing with you," is by using people toys. These are toys that might be difficult for your child to use by themselves. So things like bubbles, where it's a little bit tricky for them to blow or open up the lid, or blowing up balloons, where they just don't have enough puff and they need a grown-up to do that for them, or these wind-up toys that might be a bit fiddly. It gives your child that motivation to send a message to you and make a request to get your help in operating the toy. And they're also fun and sensory, so they're great opportunities to share enjoyment and joint attention through giggles and maybe even smiles. So what are we looking for when we play these games? How will your child communicate, "This is fun," or "Let's keep going"? So thinking about all the things your child might do, they might smile, laugh, maybe repeat some of the actions that you've been doing, give things to you, join in with singing, using a word, pulling you, or looking towards you, using gestures, body movements that show that they're excited, sounds that show that they're excited, or maybe coming closer to you to show that they're ready to have another go. Doing something unexpected can give your child an amusing or surprising reason to communicate with you. See what happens when you do something a bit unexpected or make a silly mistake on purpose. What would your child do if you tried to put their socks on their hands instead of their feet? Or if you tried to change the channel on the TV using a banana? Making a silly mistake like this gives your child a reason to initiate with you. Maybe they'll change their facial expression, maybe they'll vocalize, or maybe they'll try and pull the object away because it just isn't right. Whatever they do, this is communication and a chance for you to respond and model language. Now it's time to think about the ways your child communicates and how we can help to teach a variety of ways for your child to successfully get their message across. In the next workshop, we'll go into more detail about lots of new ways of communicating, like using gestures, objects, or pictures. Today, we'll start to think about modelling words, as well as other types of communication. We'll talk about how and when you can model these within your play and routines. Just a reminder at this point that there is no way to make a child use a particular way of communicating, such as words. But we know they're more likely to when these three things on the slide in front of you are in place. First way young children start to send messages is non-verbal. Think about a baby before they talk. They use their voice, different cries, or babbles to show how they're feeling. As we saw earlier, there are lots of ways to send messages back and forth, and we want your child to feel successful and comfortable however they're able to communicate. The first steps might look like your child using the skills they already have in more situations or more purposefully. Your speech and language therapist will help you identify the best way to help your child express themselves with ease and how you can support them with this. To help your child be a successful communicator, it's good to use a total communication approach. This means using every tool available to send and receive messages, and being encouraging of your children doing the same. Even for children who are able to use spoken words, sometimes spoken words are not available in the moment, maybe because of overwhelm or having too much to process. So having a gesture, a picture, or an object to use can make a big difference. Not all of these examples, like writing or drawing or technology, will be helpful for your child all the time or at this point, but it's about being flexible and using what's around you and using what works. So how do we teach new ways to communicate? We use them ourselves. The more your child hears a word, the more likely they are to use it. And in the same way, the more they see a gesture or see you point to a picture, the more likely they are to communicate that way too. The key is using the words or the visuals in the right moment when your child's paying attention and when they're motivated. We've laid down the foundation for that already by being a good communication partner and by creating motivating reasons to communicate in our play and in everyday routines. So in these moments you've created where your child wants to communicate with you, is trying to communicate with you, that's your chance to show them the new skill you hope they will learn. To bring us back to why owling is so important, when we owl, we see when the best opportunity to model is. We can help our children to learn new words by making comments. When we make comments, we fill up our child's brain with new language. As adults, we often tend to ask questions to try to get our children to talk and respond. But questions can actually make the interaction less reciprocal. They also don't give us the chance to model and teach new words. When you find yourself asking a question to get the interaction started, try turning this question into a comment instead. For example, instead of saying, "What colour is it?" just say, "It's green," and then wait to see how your child responds. Remember, teach, don't test. Try to make 4 comments for every question you ask while you're playing with your child. Another way to comment is to provide a commentary to their play, like, "James is pushing the car, it's going up the ramp, it's got stuck, oh no, it's going down." Because you've observed, waited and listened, and you're using your child's interests, you'll be making comments that are really relevant and interesting to them. If you're commenting about a toy car, but they're playing with the carpet, that's a missed opportunity. If you comment on the carpet, then they're more likely to pick up on the new language. You could say things like rough, fuzzy, scrape, scrape, scrape. And don't forget to model gestures and pointing as you comment. So what kind of language should you be modelling for your child? It's best to use words that are meaningful to your child or related to what they're doing or interested in that moment. You also want to make sure you match your child's language level. So if you have a child who's not yet using words or only using a few single words, you would match that and yourself use gestures, actions. You might use fun sounds like brum brum or animal sounds. And you would model single words, one word at a time. Jumping, up, down. If your child's using single words and maybe some phrases, you could match that. Use single words, maybe use a few short phrases as well. And if you have a child who's more verbal and they're using phrases or whole sentences, then you would also match that. And it's quite a good idea to model phrases that have a person and an action part to the sentence. So something like, "Mummy's jumping, Mummy's pushing, James is pushing." It's a really good idea to be repetitive when you're modelling language and try to emphasise the key words. Whatever level of language your child has, you should carry on using visuals to support their understanding, like gestures, pictures, objects, and pointing. Having more than one way to communicate helps to empower children and make sure they have more ways to advocate for their needs. Children who use visuals like pictures or Makaton to communicate do not use these instead of talking. It does not deter them from using words. Research actually shows that it encourages language use. Some people with very good language skills sometimes find that they do not have access to speaking when they get overwhelmed. Giving children an alternative way of getting their message across can help them in the long term and in different situations that they find themselves in. In the next video, we'll show some more ways that you can use visuals as a way to send and receive messages with your child. As we start to think about a goal for your child, it will help to think about what your child is already doing. This will help you to think about what they could be doing next. As you go about your day, notice what your child communicates about, how they communicate that message, and when this happens, in what activities are they communicating and at what times of day? What does your child love to do and what are they interested in? So now it's time to set a goal. What will be the next step for your child? Think about what your child will communicate. Maybe you want them to communicate the message, "This is fun," or "I want more." Maybe you want them to be able to communicate that they want something to stop or finish. This will really depend on your child and what matters to them. And how will they communicate this message? If you've thought about what they're doing now, you might decide that it might help them to add some new actions like reaching, vocalizing, maybe using a word or pointing. And importantly, when will your child be sending this message? And what will you be doing to support them in this? Maybe they'll communicate the message when you pause and wait, or when you follow their interests and copy them, or maybe during a people game. Next session, we'll go into more detail on resources and visuals that you can use to support your child in this target. So when and how should you be working on these different strategies? You can seize the moment during the day whenever your child seems to be relaxed or engaged. Fit them into your everyday routines, like offering choices during meal times, offering choices of different toys, getting involved with their play by copying them. Maybe you could play a people game when you go to the playground on the swing, or play peekaboo behind your clothes while you're getting dressed. Maybe you could play clapping games while you're having bath time in the bubbles, or a ready, steady, go game with the bubbles. Sometimes we say to parents that if you can just have 5 minutes of special time a day to have really focused playtime working on these things, then that can be really powerful and beneficial to your child. These are all just ideas, but think about how you can make fun games out of your everyday activities, and games that will make your child want to say, "This is fun and I want more." So that brings us to the end of this video. On the next video, we'll talk more about communication and visuals. And then we look forward to seeing you face to face in clinic with a speech and language therapist, where we can set goals and start to really practice these strategies. Thanks for watching.